Welcome to the XL Center here in downtown Hartford, and welcome to the first of 144 Big East Conference regular season games. Two of the heavyweights in the league collide tonight to get conference play underway. Number 8, Georgetown, and number 2, Connecticut. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman to Jay Billis. Happy holidays, and glad you're along with us for what should be a terrific night of basketball here on ESPN2. And, Jay, we've been talking about the Big East from way before the season began. Now we're into conference play. What are you thinking about when you think about this league?
I'm thinking about the best conference in the country, and this being round one of an 18-round brawl for the Big East Championship. And UConn, I think, a team that can challenge North Carolina ultimately to be the best team in the country.
There are 31 NBA scouts here in attendance tonight to check out all the stars on display. Jay will tell you about 2 of them.
Well, first, Greg Monroe from Georgetown, an outstanding, skilled big guy. He's going to put the ball on the floor trying to drive around Hashim Thabit, 7'3", a great shot blocker that has really improved his offensive skill level.
Time now for the starting lineups. We begin with the Georgetown Hoyas. Chris Wright taking over at the point as the starter this year for the departed Jonathan Wallace. Greg Monroe stepping in for the graduated Roy Hibbert. Wallace and Hibbert both moving on to the professional ranks. For Connecticut, A.J. Price back from the torn ACL from last March. Had a very good game against Gonzaga. Jerome Dyson playing the best basketball of his career. And, of course, Jeff Adrien, a senior who puts up big scoring and rebounding numbers for Jim Calhoun, who this year, if all goes well, should pick up career win number 800. The Hall of Famer is pretty excited about the kind of potential and talent that his team has. John Thompson III in his 5th year as head coach at Georgetown. In the minds of some, Jay, maybe a bit of a rebuilding season for this team. They were picked 7th by the coaches out of 16 teams in the Big East preseason, but they are 9-1. The only losses to Tennessee, and they do have some outstanding talent.
Their first 5 is almost as good as anybody in this league. I mean, clearly they're a top 10 team. The question is, if UConn can get into their bench, how will Georgetown be able to respond?
Hard to believe. Of all the stats and graphics we'll throw your way tonight, this one is the hardest one to believe. It has been 12 years since these two teams met, when both of them were ranked. Not only are they both ranked, they are both in the top 10 right now. UConn at 11-0, ranked 2nd. Georgetown at 9-1, ranked 8th. John Cal, Ed Corbett, and Michael Stevens are the officials, and Big East Conference play is officially underway.
Georgetown starting off in man-to-man. When these two teams played last year, a lot of zone was played, and Georgetown does play some 2-3 zone, so you could see the Hoyas go to that early.
A 3-guard look for UConn as they turn it over on the first possession. Monroe reaching around in front of Thabit to knock it away.
Well, Monroe is the type of player at that spot can really drive, and he will look at times to drive Thabit.
Freeman. And missed the left-handed layup. Thabit may have altered that shot a little bit.
I think he got a piece of it.
Price, Austri, and Dyson. A lot of talent, a lot of experience in the backcourt. A 3-guard look for Jim Calhoun, although Stanley Robinson is back on the team, so you'll see him at small forward tonight as well. Price lines up the 3, and the rebound to Chris Wright, knocked away. Georgetown ball.
Well, Adrian really had a mismatch with Sapp on him down low, but you can see on the nice drive by Austin Freeman using that left hand, Thabit got a piece of it with his right hand. He is so good not only at blocking shots, Dan, but he changes shots and gets into your head.
Averaging almost 4 blocks per game this year. The National Defensive Player of the Year last season as a sophomore.
This is where DaJuan Summers is very good, and that's backing a guy in, but Adrian just swatted that away.
So 2 trips for Georgetown, 2 block shots for Connecticut. They have led the nation in blocks each of the last 7 years. They do not currently lead the country at this moment. Mississippi State is on top. Tough look inside, and Adrien turns it over.
Greg Monroe is going to have some difficulties if he gets caught on the high side when guys are posting up. He's going to give up a lot of baskets.
You can see Connecticut with wins over Miami or Florida, Wisconsin, and then that great game out in Seattle, the overtime affair a week ago. This is a very deep and balanced team. 4 players in double figures, 6 players averaging at least 9 points per game. Monroe will shoot it from out there. And it also pulls Thabit away from the basket, opening things up for Freeman inside.
That's where Greg Monroe is so dangerous, putting the ball on the floor and acting as a playmaker. John Thompson III called him a facilitator earlier in the day today. And he's exactly right because of his ability to pass and his understanding of the game.
And Jim Calhoun upset early after that last defensive series, and he'll call an early timeout as Dyson got beaten down to the glass.
Well, Dyson was the guy that tried to stop the drive. He helped up. And you got to let Hasheem Thabeet take that himself and try to change the shot if Monroe was able to get all the way to the rim. But you give up an easy layup with a great pass by Greg Monroe.
The only loss to Tennessee, #1 in the nation in field goal percentage defense. Like UConn, a very balanced team. They've added Greg Monroe. Chris Wright has become a starter. They lost Roy Hibbert, Jonathan Wallace, Jeremiah Rivers, Vernon Macklin, who transferred to Florida. There's a lot of quality players who helped this team the last few years are not Hoyas anymore.
Yeah, they lost Patrick Ewing Jr. as well. I mean, it's a lot of experienced players. Their first five, Dan, I think an excellent team. They've got to develop their bench and get more out of their bench players.
Jerome Dyson has been taken out after that last play, and freshman Kemba Walker, he's the guy with the red shoes on, comes in now with the point. Price can slide off the ball a little bit for the Huskies.
Walker's greatest strength is his speed. If he is pushing the ball, he is an elite player.
Out of New York City, had been playing very well, had a few off games, but then responded better in their last game against Fairfield. Adrien battling underneath. It'll be a held ball, and the arrow will give it to the Hoyas.
Georgetown, not a great rebounding team. Their first shot defense, truly outstanding. Here, Greg Monroe switching off on Walker. Jesse Sapp recovers to him, but the glass wide open for Jeff Adrien. But Georgetown's got a unique ability to cover up. It's a hard combination to be that good defensively, but not a good rebounding team to clean up that defensive possession.
All the fans here in Hartford at the XL Center still standing, awaiting the first made basket by the Huskies. Almost 3 minutes in, they're still waiting.
Look at that pass.
And another assist for Monroe, another bucket for Freeman. That has been the blueprint so far for the Hoyas.
That was just beautiful. They had an initial backdoor look when Monroe got the ball, then went right back to it. A great cut by Austin Freeman. But watch this pass, just right past the hip of Freeman. He goes backdoor, just catches his defender, and boom. That's a great delivery, a terrific catch by Freeman, but you don't see many freshmen, let alone seniors, with the ability to make that pass.
He seems, Monroe does, like a perfect fit for the Princeton-style offense that John Thompson III runs.
Yeah, I think he's a perfect fit for any offense. He's a young man that just knows how to play. And he's got a great demeanor. He never gets rattled, shows great poise. I mean, this is a difficult environment for anyone to play, let alone a freshman.
Austria is now out. Stanley Robinson is in. Chris Wright, nice find. Jesse Sapp open in the corner. And here comes Adrian.
Missed it, but it was a very good shot.
And Georgetown, John Thompson III told us earlier, they will be faster this year. They're going to push it a little bit more. If they've got something, they want to take it. But if not, they don't want to get caught up in the flow of an up and down kind of chaotic game with Connecticut. Connecticut, of course, wants to push it as much as they can. Thabeet misses a jam. Tough catch by Monroe, and then a good move to pull it out. DaJuan Summers for three, and a great start for Georgetown.
Well, how often do you see that? A missed layup or a turnover or a bad shot leads to a transition three on the other end.
Coming into this game, you think, and we all do, it's Georgetown worrying about Connecticut transition. How about Monroe? And he finishes as well.
Well, Greg Monroe has impacted this game in so many different ways. He's done it with his passing. He's done it with a solid rebound, pretty good defense, and almost got a foul in hedging out. But look at that great play of stealing the ball from behind. You know, he leads this team in steals in addition to rebounding, block shots, free throws attempted, free throw percentage. He's been terrific.
An outstanding start for the Hoyas, led by Greg Monroe. Meanwhile, that's as good a look as a Connecticut Husky could ever want, and Thabeet missed the dunk.
Almost like he didn't get full extension and really get off his feet like he normally does.
And another sub for UConn after A.J. Price got his pocket picked. He goes out, and Austria comes back in. So all three starting guards for the Huskies have already been summoned to the bench by Jim Calhoun.
He's never worried about the quick hook. The bench is a great motivator. A good repost, but
Monroe again.
Monroe does a really good job of moving his feet and especially breaking contact. He doesn't allow that offensive player to lock him down.
And here are the Hoyas, patient once they get in the half court, running their stuff. Everybody getting a touch. And you can see Thabit's got to come out 18 feet away from the basket. Not real comfortable out there. Summers for three. All Hoyas in the early going.
I think if you want to really affect UConn's defense, you've got to move Hasheem Thabit around, and that's exactly what Georgetown has done. They have pulled him away from the basket.
Stanley Robinson baseline jumper way long. Robinson's fourth game back after sitting out the first semester, both as a player and as a student. And getting some issues in order off the court, not academically ineligible. Jim Calhoun just talking about needed to get his life in order, maturity, focus, that kind of thing. Now back on the team. Monroe. Greg Monroe is single-handedly demolishing the #2 team in the nation.
So much for Georgetown being young and inexperienced. What a haymaker to start this game.
15-1 Georgetown. The 6'11" freshman out of New Orleans is doing anything that he wants to against the Huskies.
Pulling Hasheem Thabit away from the basket. Thabit is worried about Monroe driving around him, and all of a sudden that just gives him a ton of time. You don't get that much time to shoot in a game of horse.
Monroe with his first made three-pointer of the season. But as you said, whether it's the steal, the assist, the passing, the scoring, I mean, he's doing everything right now.
He has impacted the game in so many different ways, and he's done it in a very mature fashion.
A stunning start to this game. 15-1 Georgetown leading UConn here in Hartford.
You know, aside from the missed dunk, which was the easiest thing that UConn has gotten and didn't capitalize on it, UConn has got nothing easy thus far. They've taken some quick shots, some bad shots. They need to run some good offense and perhaps get to the free throw line.
Austin Summers closes on him in a hurry. Austin inside. The floater drops.
One thing that UConn does especially well is attack the basket off the dribble. And they shoot a ton of free throws. They need to challenge this Georgetown defense.
So the first field goal takes 5.5 minutes for the Huskies. A team that is averaging almost 83 points per game.
Georgetown does such a great job of keeping that floor spread.
Wright knocks down a three.
And give credit to Greg Monroe for setting that screen, and Wright able to just jump behind it, get his feet set, and get that shot off.
And every time Georgetown makes a basket, Jim Calhoun says sends somebody else back to the scorer's table. Just try to mix it up, find a combination that might work.
Boy, his wrist is going to get tired from so many substitutes in.
A.J. Price with a three. The senior who has battled so many health issues and off-court issues. And after the Gonzaga game, they're hopeful that maybe he's going to start getting past the mental hurdle of coming off that torn ACL and start playing like he did a year ago. Well, already Connecticut facing its largest deficit when it was 18-3, but back-to-back three-pointers by Price, and all of a sudden it's 18-9.
It's no surprise that when UConn needs an answer, they go to A.J. Price.
Monroe now down into the post. Freeman steps out. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Monroe, left-handed hook over Thabit.
He's got it all. I mean, he was out top, then was screened down into the low post and took his time and shot right over a 7-3 shot blocker.
And quieted the crowd, which really had come to life for the first time tonight. 7.5 minutes in. And we've got a push and a foul going. Well, somewhat of a surprising start, I think you could say, here in downtown Hartford. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis back with you inside the XL Center. Georgetown roared out to a 15-1 lead led by freshman Greg Monroe.
Greg Monroe is a very skilled big man, an outstanding passer that understands the game. On the 8 field goals that Georgetown has had thus far, he has scored or assisted on 6 of them, and that doesn't include the screen he set to free Chris Wright for that 3 that he knocked down. He's had a hand in every score that Georgetown has had in this ball game. It has impacted the game in too many ways to count.
You see the numbers that he has on the season, very impressive, but he has been the most impressive player on the floor so far in tonight's game. A couple of threes by A.J. Price have brought UConn back into it just a little bit, but they're still down 11.
Well, 2-3 zone on the out of bounds underneath. UConn's got to get this ball into the middle and then attack the short corner. They can get something good here if they screen the zone and get it into the middle.
To beat the kick, Walker passed up the shot and fortunate to get it back. Price not this time. Stanley Robinson with a follow.
That's what this team has been missing in the games that Stanley Robinson was not here when he was away working in that scrap metal plant. He is a great athlete that can guard any position on the floor.
And stacking and moving aluminum and all kinds of scrap metal, up 15 pounds from a year ago. Austin Freeman up and over Robinson, and Freeman is built more like a fullback at 6'4", 230, has his third field goal of the night.
But how about that delivery? You just don't see guys make, especially interior players, making that kind of pass. And for Greg Monroe, that's the usual pass that he can make. He's got an extraordinary feel for the game.
The Hoyas stay in the zone. Kemba Walker for three. Got it. UConn not thought of as an outstanding three-point shooting team, but Price has a couple. Walker's got one, and that's helping keep them in the game right now.
Well, anytime they can penetrate into that zone or pass the ball into the middle to their big guys, it's going to open up to get some perimeter shots. And anytime you can step into a shot, that makes you a better shooter.
Baseline drive right. He just blew by his defender for the reverse.
What he did was when Hasheem Thabeet came over to block that shot, he used the rim against the shot blocker, went to the other side of it. That's a big-time play.
Wright missed all of conference play a year ago with a foot injury, was backing up Jonathan Wallace, but the former McDonald's All-American is a very confident young man as the starter this year. Monroe misses off the glass, runs it down.
Well, how quick were those feet to get after that rebound? Even when he lifts his eyebrows up, defenders are leaving the floor. He's got that credibility now.
And Jim Calhoun's got three more subs ready to come in. We're nearing the midway point of the first half. Can't wait for Brent Musburger and company to bring us that game. New Year's Day, 4:30 Eastern on ABC. USC has been dominant against Big Ten teams. And Joe Pa's got a little bit of experience in bowl games, doesn't he, with 23 bowl wins. Great time of year, the bowl season plus conference play beginning in college basketball. And John Thompson said, how about the schedule that we drew to start conference play? At UConn, home to Pittsburgh Saturday at ESPN, and then at Notre Dame. What a way to start. But he's got to be thrilled with the way his Hoyas have started this game here tonight.
Well, they've executed very well on the offensive end. Their defense has been sound, but they've really spread the floor, and they've made UConn chase them.
Greg Monroe out. Julian Vaughn, a transfer from Florida State, a sophomore from Reston, Virginia, comes into the game. Thabeet is still in the game right now for Connecticut, and this is where we'll see if things change. Georgetown's so-called second unit does not have the experience that Connecticut's backups do, and we'll see how deep into his bench John Thompson is comfortable going.
Against the really good teams that Georgetown has played this year, the Hoyas bench has gotten badly outscored.
Right. And again, Thabeet may have gotten a piece of it. Wright was hollering for a foul.
Just a forced shot. Georgetown didn't make them guard.
Austrie. And not a good play by Austrie. Thabeet, though, bailed him out. The big guy hit in the deck. Austrie, a senior out of Stamford, Connecticut, a starter and getting 27 minutes per game. Generally a very solid, steady guy. Got bailed out by Thabeet on that play.
Yeah, he's very fortunate. Just a bad pass by Austrie. There was nothing that Hasheem Thabeet could do with that ball where he had to catch it.
Good shot fake, and he steps in, misses the two. Offensive rebound, Dyson keeps it alive, and then gets fouled. Took a shot in the mouth as well, it looks like. ESPN2's got a college basketball marathon for you on New Year's Eve, highlighted by two games featuring ACC and national powerhouses. Duke takes on Loyola at 4 Eastern. Number 1 North Carolina takes on Nevada at 10 Eastern. You will be in Louisville as the Cardinals host UNLV at 6 Eastern. Notre Dame's also playing. Wisconsin's playing Michigan that day. 12 consecutive hours of great college basketball here on ESPN2. You're going to be in Louisville. What do you think of the Cardinals thus far this season?
Yeah, they've been enigmatic, especially their guards. They've got to get Edgar Sosa going. He has not played well, but that's a team that has got Final Four potential. I think Wisconsin and Michigan has the chance to be a great game. I mean, Wisconsin could easily be ranked this season. They've played a great schedule, and they're just, I think, a hair away from being a top 25 team.
Jim Calhoun's got a date with Michigan coming up later on. He doesn't sound so excited about playing John Beilein's team.
Well, it's a little bit like playing Georgetown.
Yeah.
You've got to chase back doors, and it's a very difficult offense to guard.
Gavin Edwards in the game for UConn. Jeff Adrien has returned. No Thabit right now. Freeman drives, and the follow by Julian Vaughn.
Anytime that you drive and draw a shot blocker, whether it's Thabit or Jeff Adrien, that is going to open up the offensive glass. That's exactly what happened on that play.
Lob inside, Adrien. And it's going to count. He was fouled, and then the basket will count after it was touched by a Georgetown player.
Now, you talk about players being trustworthy. You've got to be able to trust a player to put him on the floor. And Julian Vaughn made a huge mistake here. First the foul, but this is a bad error in judgment. Even if that ball was going to go in, leave it alone.
And Vaughn, that's going to cost him some playing time as Monroe comes back in. How about this number? You talk about how great it is, how unusual it is if a team makes more free throws than its opponents attempt. UConn has made almost twice as many free throws as its opponents have attempted so far this year.
They have not had a single game this year in which they haven't made more free throws than their opponents have even tried.
Remarkable.
Well, they're an attack team.
And it's helping to get them back in the game right now. They were down 15-1, 18-3, but now it's 26-20. Omar Watad, number 31, comes in off the Georgetown bench, a sophomore.
And every time Monroe touches it, something good has happened.
Summers, stolen away by Dyson. Numbers for UConn. Edwards, stripped, Husky ball. Momentum starting to shift in favor of the Huskies, who are getting out and running and have closed it to within 6. And a reminder that Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN tomorrow with 2 games. First at 4:30 Eastern, it's Maryland taking on Nevada in the Rhodes Humanitarian Bowl. Then at 8 Eastern, 2 of the top 8 offenses in the nation meet in the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl as number 13 Oklahoma State takes on number 17 Oregon. Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN tomorrow. Georgetown led this game 15-1 and 18-3. It's now 26-20. Austrie steps in, left it short, got it back, and Thabit screened out Summers, kept him away from Austrie, allowing Austrie to get the easy layup.
A little full court pressure now by UConn after a made basket. All 5 guys for Georgetown have got to go to the defensive glass. This is not a good rebounding team, but they've got to send everybody.
Conference opener for both teams, and in fact the Big East opener for the entire conference. Other teams are getting started within the Big East. It's hard to find a Big East game without at least one of the teams having a little number between 1 and 25 written in front of their name, isn't it?
It's really amazing the depth of this conference. I don't think the bottom of the league is very good, but the top 12 teams are really terrific.
I mean, you look at what West Virginia did at Ohio State and the fact that they are not even ranked right now. There are 8 teams ranked. West Virginia is receiving votes. Technically, they would be 27th, if you will. They're 2 spots outside the rankings. They got a heck of a basketball team. Summers for 3. And Dyson the rebound. Dyson, whether it's handling the ball, not forcing things, rebounding, shooting a better percentage, clearly playing the best basketball of his career.
He's just a warrior out on the floor, and if anybody is having a big night on the opposition on the perimeter, you can put Jerome Dyson on him and shut him down.
Nice look from Price to Kemba Walker. Around and out on the 3. Jesse Sapp saves and finds Monroe. Quick outlet to Chris Wright. And what a play by Dyson, coming back to pick it off.
Wright's got to take that all the way.
Dyson trying to take it all the way, and Wright forced that turnover. Here comes Sapp. Inside Summers. Counted for Summers and a foul.
That's a big difference, Dan, in this Georgetown team is Chris Wright and his ability to put the ball on the deck, not only in transition, but in the half court and get to the rim. He can draw that defense and then dish it off. Gave up the baseline and got it right to one of the most athletic and strongest 3 men in the country in DaJuan Summers.
Summers, a preseason Wooden Award candidate. About 11 points per game last year, up over 14 this year, a larger role on this team. Dyson, they lay off him. And that's the one part of his game where you still expect to see some improvement. He's at 32% on the season from beyond the arc as Adrian comes up with a steal.
It was not a very good decision by Chris Wright in transition. There was nothing there.
Summers will be credited with a block, and right there to follow it up is Kemba Walker.
Thus far for UConn, their best offense has been a missed shot. Those second chance opportunities have kept them in this game.
Kind of like Georgetown teams from back in the day. Throw it up on the glass and go get it. You're watching ESPN's coverage of college basketball. Number 8 Georgetown taking on number 2 UConn from the XL Center here in Hartford, Connecticut. Due to time constraints, we are moving ahead in our action. Here come the Hoyas with a 6-point lead, just over a minute and a half to go. Chris Wright, Jesse Sapp, Austin Freeman in the backcourt for the Hoyas.
Georgetown doesn't necessarily need to run clock, but they need to make UConn guard them, especially out front. Move the ball from side to side, give this defense an opportunity to make a mistake.
The only starter not in the game for either team, Greg Monroe, on the bench with 2 fouls. Sapp, nice crossover, gets inside, swatted away by Thabit, number 4.
But to Georgetown's credit, they keep going after him. A good drive, tries to put that ball. That gets over 95% of the shot blockers that Jesse Sapp's going to go against. But Hasheem Thabit is a terrific shot blocker.
Shot clock a factor, and a wild off-balance shot by Chris Wright goes in.
There is no fear in these Hoyas. You know, Hasheem Thabit has sent some shots back at him. They keep going.
No field goals the last 5 minutes for Connecticut, but they are starting to get to the line. Four on the shot clock when the play began, and right into the chest of Thabit, throws up a prayer.
2 free throws for DaJuan Summers.
And we talked about the free throw disparity, Jay, between the Huskies and their opponents this year. That is the 8th attempt of this game by UConn. Georgetown has only been to the line twice.
And Connecticut has to start knocking those free throws down when they get there. Now, this is a team that has shot the ball pretty well from the free throw line, over 70% as a team.
Dyson 2 for 4 tonight, and the Huskies 6 of 9.
And Connecticut still showing that 2-2-1 3-quarter court pressure. Georgetown can really throw 2 point guards at you. I think essentially that Jesse Sapp is even though he's a combo guard, he acts as a point guard out there with Chris Wright.
Well, Wright looks so composed and confident for a sophomore who missed all of conference play last year with a foot injury.
He's a big-time scorer in high school. 3 times he was all Met in the D.C. area. The last guy to do that before him was Adrian Dantley.
Foul on Dyson, much to the chagrin of Jim Calhoun. ESPN2 with the college basketball marathon New Year's Eve. 6 games in all, highlighted by 2 games featuring 2 ACC powerhouses at 4 Eastern, Duke and Loyola. At 10 Eastern, North Carolina and Nevada. Other games, Northwestern, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. UNLV, Louisville, Notre Dame, DePaul. 6 games from noon to midnight Eastern, New Year's Eve, ESPN2.
Now you remember Loyola Maryland was the team that threw that triangle in 2 at Davidson, putting the 2 on Stephen Curry and holding him to a bagel.
We'll see if Jimmy Patsos has something cooked up for the Duke game. Shot clock turned off. The Hoyas can hold it for the final shot of the half.
Everybody has to rebound here. You don't want to give Georgetown an offensive board to go into the locker room with.
Freeman sizing it up. Now 5 seconds. Chris Wright pulls up and hits it. 2 big shots. It's a long 2 for Wright, but the desperation one a minute ago, and then that shot. 2 huge buckets for Wright near the end of the half.
And both of them were contested.
Greg Monroe, despite a couple of late fouls, was, at least in the first 10 minutes of the game, the dominant performer. Hasheem Thabit did not have a great first half, especially at the offensive end. Chris Wright, though, outstanding late in the first half. Georgetown up by 9 at the break. The opening of Big East play, and maybe this is a taste of what this league is going to be like. All the teams seem so strong, you never know who's going to beat who. The Georgetown Hoyas certainly didn't come out and play like the younger team or the road team or a team playing the number 2 ranked team in the nation. They hit first, and they hit hard, led by their freshman Greg Monroe.
Well, Greg Monroe was magnificent, and he did it with a great deal of poise, and he did it in so many different areas. Passing the ball, he had 3 steals in that first half. 3 assists, a mature first half, 9 points, really drawing Hasheem Thabeet away from the basket, then taking him inside. He's got great hands, great finishing ability, but he did pick up his second foul late in that first half.
Chris Wright hit some big shots at the end of the half for Georgetown. The starters scored all but 2 of the points for the Hoyas. A.J. Price a couple of early threes, but Connecticut a drought early, a drought late. Hasheem Thabeet has not scored a point in this game. Jerome Dyson has not made a field goal in this game, and it's the lowest point total in the first half in any game this year for Jim Calhoun's Connecticut Huskies.
You know, Dan, people talk about, UConn didn't come ready to play. Well, I think they came ready to play, but Georgetown came ready for a fight, and they've taken the fight to UConn, and the first 4 minutes are going to be really important for this UConn team, and Greg Monroe starting the second half where he left off the first.
So Greg Monroe, who had not hit a 3 so far this season, has 2 tonight, and Thabeet is on the board.
Well, a smart play by Monroe. He got caught on the high side. He could have done something stupid and foul, but he just let Thabeet finish that play.
Monroe picked up 2 fouls near the end of the first half, cost him the last 3 minutes of the half. Does not want to pick up the third. Here's a steal by Dyson. 1-on-1 with Wright, and the rebound to Freeman.
Dyson so good defensively, just a warrior out on the floor, but it's so deflating when you get that steal and then you miss an easy layup opportunity.
Thabeet with 4 blocks in the first half. That's just above his season average. Wright probing on the interior. It'll stay with Georgetown.
Anytime you play against Hasheem Thabeet, you have got to pull him away from the basket, and that's exactly what Greg Monroe did. A nice screen by Austin Freeman, and Freeman's defender didn't step up there to try to take that shot away.
So Georgetown with 1 freshman and 2 sophomores in the starting lineup, playing their first true road game of the season. 7 home, 3 neutral coming in. A shot fake by Monroe was a beauty, but then he missed the shot. Thabeet out ahead of the pack, and there is the foul on Monroe, his 3rd.
Well, Thabeet, after he left the floor on that shot fake, just went the other way. I mean, he didn't even wait. And Greg Monroe committed his first freshman mistake of the game, committing that foul.
John Thompson will resist the urge to take Monroe out of the game. And now another Georgetown foul trying to defend Thabeet.
One thing that UConn does a very good job of is out of bounds underneath. Now right now with Adrien and Thabeet low in this line, you got to watch Jerome Dyson here. He likes to go under on this.
The last foul was on Sapp, but Monroe will come out, and there's Dyson laying it in.
You have to, when the big guys are low, Dyson is the guy that goes right to the basket. When the big guys are high, Jeff Adrien will plow straight to the rim and allow Thabeet to go in for a lob.
Now let's keep an eye on the score. It was 10 when Monroe came out with that 3rd foul. A quick bucket by UConn, and we'll see how the Hoyas respond without Monroe in the game. They weathered the storm well at the end of the first half when he went to the bench with his 2nd foul. And this guy was one of the big reasons why. Chris Wright will drive and draw the foul on Craig Austrie.
Here's the last inbounds play. You have to watch Dyson here. In a line when the guards are up top, Dyson goes right to the rim and nobody picks him up. They just lost him up top behind all those big guys. UConn very good at executing out of bounds underneath situations. They get a lot of easy baskets, open shots off of their out of bounds under execution.
Chris Wright goes to the line for the Hoyas. When you asked John Thompson today what are some of the keys, he mentioned transition defense, he mentioned rebounding. How has Georgetown done in the areas where Coach Thompson felt they had to do well tonight?
Overall, they've done very well. Their defense has been really good. I mean, in 22 minutes of play, to hold UConn to 31 points is pretty darn solid. I mean, if you ask John Thompson, he said, with 18 minutes to go in the game, we'll give you, a 9-point lead. You think he would have taken it? The problem is Greg Monroe's got 3 fouls. And the longer he stays on the bench, the less opportunity that Georgetown has to win.
So Julian Vaughn defending Hasheem Thabeet, who comes up with the offensive rebound. And a fresh 35 now for the Huskies, who have been a little ragged at times offensively. Only shot 38% of the first half and had 3 assists and 8 turnovers.
But Georgetown does a good job on those interior screens. The guards very alert to try to get in front of Thabeet.
A.J. Price, yes. Coming back from that torn ACL in March. We mentioned the big game against Gonzaga, and you talked about it this morning. The off-the-court issues, the theft of the laptops in his first year, the brain hemorrhage and subsequent life-saving surgery in his second year, a torn ACL last year. He has gone through an unbelievable amount in his college career.
No player in America has gone through as much in 4 years as A.J. Price has gone through. And he's answered the bell at every opportunity. And especially now coming back with that ACL surgery, to play like he did against Gonzaga was phenomenal.
Dyson the miss. Adrien had it. Gets it back and lays it in. Jeff Adrien has a chance to join Emeka Okafor as the only players under Jim Calhoun with 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds in their UConn careers. And a Georgetown turnover will make it even noisier in here.
In the first half of this game, Connecticut did not do very much that was tough. In the second half, Connecticut has been the tougher team. They have come out throwing the haymakers.
John Thompson will take a timeout. Georgetown's lead is down to 5. Greg Monroe back into the game, and now for Georgetown. Picked up his 3rd foul early in the second half, went out, and UConn outscored the Hoyas 6-1, Jay, while Monroe was on the bench. So John Thompson puts him right back in.
And UConn needs to go right inside, right away, and test Monroe. Even if they got to force it in there, take it into the paint.
Into Adrien. Good matchup with Summers. Jump hook, no. And it's Georgetown ball.
See, I'd let Monroe out top and play through him again. Anytime Monroe dribbles at you, you're going to go backdoor.
Now Sapp setting a screen on Thabit as Monroe drifts down into the post. Still plenty of time to shoot.
And this is one of the best teams in the country at executing in the last 10 seconds of the shot clock.
A timeout on the floor. UConn once down 15, now within 5. You're watching ESPN's coverage of college basketball. Number 8 Georgetown taking on number 2 UConn from the XL Center here in Hartford, Connecticut. Due to time constraints, we are moving ahead in our action.
Austin Freeman shooting 1 free throw.
So no shortage of choices on the ESPN family of networks here tonight. Glad you're with us here in Hartford. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, the Big East opener, and what a game it has been so far. Visiting Georgetown has led the entire night, but here comes the senior, Jeff Adrien, starting to take over.
Well, Austin Freeman guarding him in the post. That is a guard guarding a big guy down low. Didn't get any help with the double team. He was all by himself.
Jerome Dyson commits the foul.
UConn foul.
This is a very difficult game for a player like Hasheem Thabit. But for Jeff Adrien, his strength inside can really be a difference. I think UConn has to continue to look inside to Adrien, let him go to work on these smaller Georgetown defenders.
You look at this front line for UConn: 7'3" Thabit, 6'7" Adrien, 243 at power forward, and then 6'9" Robinson at small forward.
Not a great scoring lineup in the game right now for Georgetown.
Vaughn is in the game, as is Clark, as is Watad. 3 players off the Georgetown bench. First time that's happened tonight. Vaughn, the handoff.
Oh, Clark.
Jason Clark.
Stanley Robinson had that ball, but didn't lay a body on Clark, who came in with his left hand and just tipped that in untouched.
6'2", going over the top of 6'9" for the follow.
Maybe 6'2", but he's got the arms of a 6'7" kid.
Adrien, one more time. 9 points here in the second half for Jeff Adrien.
When something is working, keep going to it until they stop it. Jeff Adrien needs to touch the ball every time down.
Austin Freeman, and he's fouled. I think it'll be Adrien. It will. Jeff Adrien will commit the foul. Adrien, thank you. This is game 1 of the doubleheader with Memphis and Cincinnati still to come, as you mentioned. 11:13 to go here in the second half. Georgetown 49, Connecticut 45. The Hoyas have led by as many as 15. The Huskies have not led for one single second of this game, in spite of the best efforts here in the second half of Jeff Adrien.
Well, Jeff Adrien has taken advantage of some matchups. When Austin Freeman's been on him, he's taken him down into the post, and he's done a good job on the offensive glass. I'll tell you what, Freeman and Chris Wright have done a pretty darn good job, especially when they haven't had a great scoring lineup in there with them, of putting the ball on the deck and attacking to get to the free throw line.
Both just sophomores, too, so a lot of good basketball ahead for them, you would imagine, for John Thompson from Austin Freeman and Chris Wright.
A 2-3 zone now from Georgetown. Still have to look inside.
For Adrien or Thabit?
Both. I mean, you want to get a touch to Jeff Adrien, but they try to overload aside, get the ball into the middle, play a little high-low, but that short corner in the middle are going to be open.
Monroe on the bench. John Thompson's been yo-yoing him in and out, and now Connecticut turns it over. And here comes Monroe back into the game if they can get him in. Is this already, let's take him out for a defensive possession and get him back in when we have the ball if the opportunity presents itself?
If you can. I mean, this is a good time to put him in because he starts out on the offensive end.
Playing with 3 fouls.
You wouldn't worry as much if you had a junior or senior in that position because they're a little more used to being able to play in this environment with some fouls. Freshmen, you might want to manage a little bit more.
Jesse Sapp knocks down the 3.
Is Jesse Sapp a tough competitor? New York City point guard that just makes plays. He does things that get you wins.
Georgetown 6 out of 12 from beyond the arc, and what was a 3-point lead moments ago is back up to 9 now for the Hoyas.
Well, Georgetown has had answers, just a little pop back jumper, and Sapp was ready to shoot when that ball arrived.
Now there is a dwindling number of unbeaten teams remaining in Division I college basketball. There are 9, including Connecticut, ranked second in the nation, 11-0. Clemson is off to a great start. Tubby Smith has Minnesota playing very well. It's going to get tougher for all these teams, though, now that they go into conference play.
Well, I don't think, with the exception of perhaps North Carolina, I don't think any team even has a shot at staying undefeated throughout the season. But interesting to see Illinois State at 12-0 after losing what they lost last year. Osiris Eldridge is back. Champ Oguchi, Tim Jankovic done a very nice job with that team to have them unbeaten out of that league. Stanford still unbeaten. They had a huge win over Texas Tech. They scored 111 points.
Wow.
Over 50 in each half against Texas Tech. So Johnny Dawkins with an unbeaten team thus far out of the Pac-10.
And 2 teams ranked 3rd and 6th, Pittsburgh and Wake Forest. In spite of the fact they're ranked 3rd and 6th, still probably not getting the kind of publicity they should.
Well, Wake Forest, I'm not sure there's a more athletic. I think Wake Forest is more athletic than North Carolina. I mean, the only difference is North Carolina's got a player like Ty Lawson out front that is the speed of that team. But overall, Wake Forest is a more athletic team.
Georgetown on defense, and Monroe out of the game again. The Hoyas staying in the zone. That gets tipped over the backboard, and it will be Georgetown ball. Here comes Monroe again. So whenever John Thompson has the opportunity, he's going to get him out of there on defense and get him back in on offense.
Well, he's had some dead ball opportunities to do that. And when he does, he's going to take advantage of it.
What a statement Georgetown is making here tonight. Led 15-1 and 18-3. Great cut and a great find. Summers will go to the line.
Chris Wright just attacks. When he was taking the ball in there, you kind of think, what are you doing? It's a little bit too early. But DaJuan Summers was going to take that in and punch it before he was fouled.
So DaJuan Summers goes to the line. One of the areas of development for Chris Wright, like a lot of guys, Jay, in high school, he could score at will, but he has been asked to defer a little bit more, to become a little bit less of a scorer, and instead become more of a distributor. And boy, it seems like he's ahead of the curve right now.
Well, it was funny today when we were talking to John Thompson III, talking about Wright's development. And in high school, you know, every guard thinks mostly about themselves. And I think you asked him, you know, is he not naturally unselfish? And he says, is any kid naturally unselfish? Is there such a thing?
They're getting there, he says.
2-3 zone for Georgetown.
And Monroe out again. They're on defense. They got the whistle. They got the dead ball. Vaughn back in. Screen by Thabit. Walker won't take the shot. Knocked away from behind by Wright. Georgetown's got it.
Just not protecting the ball.
We've talked about Georgetown, their ability to knock that ball away.
Greg Monroe and Chris Wright both having themselves some kind of a night here for the Hoyas. Oh, backdoor cut, but miscommunication. Wright didn't continue to the basket. Vaughn turns it over.
Anytime you go backdoor, you have to finish that cut. I'm still not sure that pass would have gotten through.
Now Wright steals it away from Robinson. And it will stay with Georgetown. The crowd down there, they're all hollering for a travel.
Well, the first bad decision by Chris Wright. He just took that way too deep with two defenders on him. But a terrific steal by Wright. And just a little bit too far deep. And I don't think that Jesse Sapp traveled. I think it was Julian Vaughn behind him that made the crowd think it looked that way.
And Monroe back in with Georgetown on offense. I don't know if they hold the record or what the record is for most times subbing in and out of a game, but Greg Monroe is going to threaten it here tonight.
You know, that's a perfect thing for a kid. You know, you get to play offense, you don't have to play defense. It's perfect.
Driving on Thabit. Nice bounce pass. Summers lost it. It hit the foot of Thabit and bounces out to Walker.
And what a block.
And that is a big-time athlete, DaJuan Summers, taking that ball to the basket. And Hasheem Thabit took that ball from rim high to the floor in no time. Did he even get a piece of that? I thought he blocked it.
I don't know. I think Summers...
Maybe Summers just took it back with him.
And tried to throw it down off of him or something, and it hit Thabit's foot and bounced way up in the air.
They got to watch Dyson again. They lost track of him the first time. It was wide open. I mean, I know they scouted that play because I scouted it. It's easy to know.
Dyson working hard, got it back. Gavin Edwards. And the foul on Wright.
You know, Dan, that is just way too easy. Anytime that UConn gets on the line and the guards are on the back end of that line, it's going to be Dyson that's going right to the basket. If the bigs are up, look at that. That's just way too easy. He just waltzes right to the ball. Nobody gets in his way. And all of a sudden they're shooting free throws. It could have been a three-point play.
7th team foul on Georgetown, so Connecticut is going to the line. Now, we talked about as Vaughn goes out again, Monroe comes in again. And we understand, obviously, what John Thompson is trying to do, but are they losing something defensively by not having Greg Monroe in?
They are, but they're still ahead. I mean, they're ahead by double digits. And as long as they are, it's a risk worth taking. You're only giving up a basket here or there. I'd rather give up a basket and keep Greg Monroe from getting that 4th foul and really limiting what he feels like he can do. You know, it's one thing to have a freshman playing with 3 fouls. It is quite another to have him playing with 4 with 8 minutes to go.
Couple of big free throws for Gavin Edwards. And some full court pressure here by the Huskies. Walker lost his footing. And Chris Wright's going to bring it over himself.
Well, Wright is an awfully tough guard to press. Remember Michael Jackson, the great Georgetown guard, telling me that he thought Wright had something special in him. I think he was right.
Nice cut by Jason Clark. Nice pass by Greg Monroe. And the Hoyas heading to the line when we come back. Thabit and UConn down by 9. Georgetown leading Connecticut by 9. Still a lot of time left in this game for the Huskies. Almost 8 minutes to go. Let's flash back to what most consider to be the best game ever played in the 50-year history of games between Connecticut and Georgetown. The off-balance leaner by Ray Allen with just about 14 seconds to go. A couple of opportunities for the Hoyas at the other end, but they cannot convert, and Connecticut wins the Big East Tournament Championship 75-74. And there have been so many great players who have played under Jim Calhoun. Let's look at Jay Billis's choice as the 5 best players to ever play for Connecticut.
Well, it's near impossible to pick that. You're leaving out guys like Corny Thompson. You go on and on. But Chris Smith, one of the best players ever to play here, would lead the way. Donyell Marshall, an outstanding shot blocker and scorer. And there's not been a smoother player in a UConn uniform than Ray Allen. And Richard Hamilton won a national championship in '99. Okafor in 2004. And Ben Gordon, what a 6-man he would be. Could score coming off the bench. Anybody would take those 6. And I think Jim Calhoun and George Claney would take those 6 right now.
And John Thompson's got to be pretty happy with the 5 guys he's had on the court most of the night. Georgetown has led throughout the night. Jason Clark at the line, and we talked about the bench of Georgetown and how in the meaningful games, the good teams, Maryland and Memphis and Tennessee, they haven't gotten a whole lot from the bench. And they're just getting a little bit here and there. Clark and Vaughn have combined for 5 points. That's it off the Georgetown bench tonight.
Well, tonight their bench players have essentially taken the Hippocratic oath, do no harm.
And for the most part, they have done no harm. They haven't given them a huge lift, but they've at least served as a stopgap when they need to give a rest to someone or when Monroe's been in a little bit of foul trouble. They're going with that 2-3 zone. And I think UConn has got to get the ball into the middle of that zone, whether by the dribble or the pass. They've got to penetrate it. And thus far, they've just been throwing it around the outside edges.
Walker travels.
Well, Georgetown has been very alert defensively, and Greg Monroe coming back into the game. And he's played essentially the last 8 minutes, offense only.
Connecticut now with 13 turnovers. Has Connecticut seen a lot of zone this year, and do you expect them to see a lot of zone in conference play?
There's no question. I mean, they are not a great shooting team, and they are so strong inside. They are so strong attacking off the dribble. Until they prove that they can beat a zone consistently, they're going to see more and more of it. Helps shorten the game as well.
Another block for Thabit. Another thing Connecticut has not been able to do, Jay, is get out in transition. Unofficially, just 2 fast break points for the Huskies tonight.
Well, they blocked some shots. They haven't gotten a lot of rebounds and steals. And one thing Georgetown, I think, can do is on drives, if they can dive somebody to the rim, they can get something good.
Monroe going at Thabit.
Well, that is not a good foul. Looked like A.J. Price was the guy that reached in there. And you've got to have more confidence in your shot blocker. Monroe putting the ball, he's left-handed, and Thabit is helpless to stop him, but he can catch up and affect the shot. If not block it, change it. And A.J. Price is too smart of a defender to just reach in there and bail him out when he's got a big man behind him that can block so many shots.
So here we have Greg Monroe. The 3 assists all came early. The steal, he's got 3 of them, but the steal in the first half, I think it was off Price, and then he went the length of the court. The 3-point shooting. Knocking down free throws. This young man has had a terrific evening. And again, he goes out as Georgetown goes to defense. If this continues the rest of the game, it'll be really, Jay, about the last 13 minutes of the game that John Thompson will be substituting Monroe in on offense and then out on defense.
Well, at some point, he's going to leave him in there. I think it's under the 5-minute mark. If he can get down to the 5-minute mark with certainly with a double-digit lead, he's going to leave him in there at some point. And I think it's around 5 minutes.
Price banks it home. UConn had it down to 3 on a couple of occasions here in the second half, but it's a double-digit lead for Georgetown here on the road. A young Hoyas team, their first conference game, their first true road game of the season, and they haven't looked troubled by any of that for one moment tonight.
Well, Georgetown very fortunate to get a foul call there. Watad took the ball into the lane, and that could have easily been a turnover. After the double team, Watad got the ball through this little baseline pass, and it was just mishandled. There, no question there was contact, but that could have easily been a travel or a play not completed by Georgetown.
And Jim Calhoun has shed the jacket and loosened the tie. DaJuan Summers at the line. 19 foul on the Huskies.
Now, Jim Calhoun can live with being outplayed in a game, but being outfought frosts him. And his team has been outfought. Georgetown has been not only the aggressor, they've been the more alert team, especially defensively.
And is it fair to say that the reputation of Georgetown teams the last couple of years has been more of a finesse team than a fight team?
Yeah, I think that's the reputation simply because of the Princeton offense that they run.
Right.
But I think this is a team that has nothing but fight in them.
Well, Chris Wright has shown that, and he's the guy with the ball in his hands most often, and he has shown a tremendous amount of fight all night long. Jeff Adrien draws the foul. If you're looking for fight in a UConn guy, that's your guy. Now Jim Calhoun is mocking that call from John Cal. And John Cal's going to go over and go toe-to-toe with him. John Cal does not like the fact that Jim Calhoun was mocking the fact that a call went against Georgetown.
Number 4, Jeff Adrien.
We talked about, I think about the 14-minute mark, Jay, that, hey, there's a lot of time left in this game for UConn to get back into it. Several minutes have come off the clock, and Georgetown has extended its lead.
Well, Georgetown has been eating time off that clock on the offensive end, and they've been getting to the free throw line or getting a score. I mean, their percentage of scoring, whether by free throws or otherwise, in the last 10 minutes of game time has been really high.
Big second half for Adrien. 11 points since the break. Monroe back in, Vaughn back out.
Now here's where Georgetown has to present themselves as receivers and be strong with the ball, because they're going to get trapped, and that is the worst place to catch it, in that coffin corner.
And they got it back. The arrow gives it to the Huskies.
When you catch the ball in the corner, it's the two defenders plus the baseline and the sideline. There is nowhere to go.
And now this is the first time with an opportunity to make a sub that John Thompson doesn't. Huskies ball, and he'll leave Monroe in the game. And the crowd back into it here at the XL Center, only to see UConn turn it over and Adrien commit a foul.
UConn just trying to force it right now. You know, they have not been sharp. And when they had an opportunity to make a little pass fake, try to get the ball into the middle of that defense, they turn it over just too early without making the defense move first to try to make that penetrating pass.
And the 10th team foul on the Huskies. 2 shots the rest of the way for the Hoyas. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ESPN tomorrow with a couple of games. It begins at 4:30 Eastern. Maryland and Nevada in the Roadies Humanitarian Bowl. Then at 8 Eastern, it's the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Number 13 Oklahoma State and number 17 Oregon. A Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN tomorrow.
And anytime you play Georgetown, the last thing you want to do is play them from behind, because all of a sudden you're put in the position of having to chase them.
When you start chasing, it is advantage Georgetown, not just because of their ability to beat you with backdoors and the overplay, but it's their ability to get to the free throw line and knock down free throws.
And they have been doing that tonight. 16 out of 17 in the second half. They shoot almost 75% as a team on the season.
And only shot 2 free throws in that first half. They've been living at the line in the second half. Too much standing right now by UConn. They've got to move the ball and move themselves.
Dyson turned it over. 15 Connecticut turnovers tonight to 10 for Georgetown.
Now tell me which team looks like the young and inexperienced team. It has been UConn that looks young and inexperienced, and Georgetown has been the older and more mature team in this game.
And it started early with a play of Monroe, a freshman, and Wright, a sophomore, right from the second this game began.
Well, for a freshman to come into this atmosphere, what a pass. You got to be kidding me.
Monroe threads the needle, backdoor cut, Wright the layup. Timeout, UConn. The lead is back to 15. That matches the largest lead of the night for the Georgetown Hoyas as we send it back to Ryan Burr in the studio.
525, 4,500.
And Ryan Villanova dominating in Big 5 plays. They have the last several years. That's another one of the eight ranked teams in the Big East. They are 13th right now. Georgetown's number 8, and they're going to move up if they win this game.
Anytime Georgetown dribbles at you, you're going to go backdoor. And A.J. Price should know that, and he gets caught on the high side of Chris Wright. But what a great delivery by Greg Monroe. That is a very difficult and delicate pass to make. And he is able to deliver that ball, and a great catch by Chris Wright.
On the season, Georgetown has 4 players averaging between 12 and 15 points. Tonight, those 4 players all had between 12 and 16 points. Wright nearly stole it away. Dyson dumps it down. Adrien fumbles it out of bounds. 16 UConn turnovers.
Now, everything's staying on the right side of the floor on that possession. They don't move the ball from side to side. They don't make the Georgetown defense move before they attack it. And right now, UConn looking completely out of sorts, and there is still a long time left in this game.
They've not been able to force that many turnovers with their pressure. And a held ball. It'll stay with Georgetown. The arrow will switch over.
Sapp cannot get caught in the corners, and he cannot get caught on the sideline. If you catch the ball there, you've got to get it out of that position in a hurry.
You know, it's one thing, Jay, as you know, to hit first and take a big lead. Connecticut got it from 15 all the way back down to 3, and then Georgetown methodically got it back up to 15 again.
Just a poised basketball team. Nothing rattles this team. You know, they may get beat, but they're not going to beat themselves.
Final Four trip for this program a couple of years ago. Back-to-back Big East regular season titles. Long jumper for DaJuan Summers. It's the largest lead of the night for the Hoyas.
And who's better in the last 10 seconds of a shot clock than this team?
And A.J. Price will draw the foul on Jesse Sapp.
Most teams don't like to get down to the last 10 seconds without having gotten anything, but Georgetown will test you early in the shot clock, and they try to take you apart in the last 10 seconds of one. And nobody really guarding DaJuan Summers. That's just too easy.
Number 12, A.J. Price, shooting 2.
I'm not sure you're going to hear a Big East building throughout Big East play this quiet the remainder of the year. And Georgetown is quiet in this crowd.
Robinson back in for the Huskies. A UConn team that had some very nice wins in the pre-conference. The best one at Gonzaga, the battle in Seattle, winning out in overtime out there. A.J. Price had such an incredible game for the Huskies. They've beaten Wisconsin and Miami. But they have had it handed to them from the moment this game began, as Dyson deflects that pass away. What are the lessons to be learned? And this one isn't over yet, but what are the lessons to be learned for UConn?
Don't read your press clippings. You know, in a game like that, and it's going to be the same, Dan, in every Big East game. I mean, you have got to come ready for a fight in these games. And it's not going to be enough throughout the 40 minutes of playing yourself into the game. You got to be ready from the opening tap for an absolute fist fight, because that's what these games are going to be.
Again, a very patient team at the offensive end, using a lot of time. Wright misses the jumper, the follow by Summers, and the Hoya bench explodes.
And nobody boxed out for UConn. And in trying to get back into this game, you know, you play that long defensively and you don't box out. That just shows a lack of a winner's mentality at the end of a possession.
Kemba Walker with a jumper at the other end for the Huskies. Monroe has it knocked away. 3-on-2. Walker again.
Now, there's plenty of time left in this game.
You get another stop or two and knock a shot down.
And John Thompson III calls a timeout for the Hoyas. Missed shot. There on the follow is DaJuan Summers, 2 of his 16 points. Georgetown up 13.
We've got a very violent studio. A lot of punching in the mouth going on.
I hope Fran and Jimmy are okay back there. Jim Calhoun probably feels like punching somebody in the mouth the way that his Huskies have performed tonight. Down 15-1, down 18-3. Got it back within 3. And now Georgetown has a 13-point lead, 3:19 to go, and they are knocking down their free throws. 16 of 17 as a team in the second half.
Such a balanced first 5 that this team has. I mean, for Georgetown, their go-to guy is the open man.
And that's a great way to play.
When you have confidence in everybody on the floor, that when they have the ball in a position to score, you expect them to do that.
I mean, that's what a really good team does.
18 now for Summers. 2-3 zone still for the Hoyas.
And a passive attack by UConn, just passing the ball around the perimeter.
Thabit has it knocked away from behind. Hasheem Thabit tonight has 2 points. 1 of 3 from the field. And you talked about it in your ESPN News hit before the game. He's not Shaquille O'Neal or Tim Duncan or somebody who's gifted at the offensive end. But for a guy who's 7'3", you expect more than 3 shot attempts and 2 points.
Well, he's got to be more active. And against a team that has really taken him away from the basket on the defensive end and taken away a real strength of his, which is shot blocking and rebounding. And boy, UConn is just totally out of it.
17 turnovers. Jerome Dyson is 1 of 9 tonight. He's got 4 points, and they don't come close to stopping the basketball. And Chris Wright, at 6 foot tall, goes coast to coast.
Yeah, I think we may see some walk-ons start playing pretty soon.
Price. The beat. And he's fouled. We are here at the XL Center in downtown Hartford. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, the Big East Conference opener, a top 10 matchup between Georgetown and Connecticut, and the Hoyas have been in control virtually the entire night. Connecticut has not led for 1 second of this game. And the Hoyas are 2.5 minutes away from a huge statement here with the outset of conference play. And coming up next, more great basketball here on ESPN2. Cincinnati is at Memphis. That game starting as soon as this one is done. We'll send you there. Terry Gannon and Bill Raftery will have the call from FedEx Forum.
An old Conference USA rivalry game.
And Cincinnati, not a team to be taken lightly on. They're a team that's going to beat some very good teams in the Big East this year. They're dangerous.
Already 10-2, and Cincinnati's got a great guard, Deontay Vaughn. And as soon as their big guys, Mike Williams and Yancey Gates, really get their legs under them this season, that's going to be a really good team and a tough out.
Thabit with another block, and the shot clock will expire on the Hoyas. Now, UConn came into this game 11-0, and the last 4 times they have won 11 in a row, they lost the next game, and it looks like that trend is going to continue.
High-class problem to have, isn't
yes.
it? Tough to get that 12th win in a row.
One of 9 remaining unbeatens, but looking more and more like it'll be 8 after tonight. Dyson now 1 of 10.
It's not the fact that Georgetown can come in here and win this that's surprising, because that's not a surprise. This is a very good team. What's a surprise is the ease with which they were able to do it. I mean, Georgetown has controlled this game, even though they were challenged at times. They've controlled this game from start to finish, and in the second half, they were not really tested past the 10-minute mark.
And if you're looking for a Georgetown MVP, you could pick any one of 5 guys. Kemba Walker with a steal in the uncontested layup. Slowed down a little bit, and Sapp almost got him. The tone was set early by Greg Monroe, and then everybody else for Georgetown got their games going later on in the night.
And UConn not going to foul this last minute, being down 13. And what a stunning performance by Georgetown in this game. I still think, Dan, the most important thing for Georgetown as this season goes along is developing the bench. If they can develop Julian Vaughn, Henry Sims, if those guys can come along,
I mean, you're looking at a team that can beat anybody in this league.
Well, 74 points tonight for Georgetown, 68 of them from the starters. Wright dives to the floor to save it. A 1-second difference between the game clock and shot clock, and the Georgetown Hoyas are going to make a statement that will be heard nationwide as they play their first true road game of the season, come in here to Hartford and absolutely stun the previously unbeaten Connecticut Huskies. They're going to get a shot clock violation with about 1.5 seconds to go unless they put one up.
A big message delivered by Georgetown to the rest of the Big East.
Shot clock violation.